You know, I've been involved in technology in Africa for the last over 10 years, and I've seen tremendous growth. I mean, when I started talking about technology, you know, in 10 years ago, today it's happening. You know, some of the things that we were dreaming of before are actually happening on the ground. You know, there are some huge success stories across the African continent.
Is this all piggybacking on this leapfrogging of mobile technology in the last 10, 15 years?
It's had a huge impact, but I think that other things have had an impact as well, is the availability of internet at a little bit of a lower cost, the availability of Facebook and other social media has introduced different types of technology and new technology to Africans, and they've realized that they can develop their own. You know, that Facebook is great, but I want to make my own Facebook, you know, and so yeah, mobile technology has, it's given people the idea that you can succeed in Africa in technology, you know, whereas the people didn't really believe even in mobile in Africa. You know, I think that there's some studies that showed that you could get 100,000, 200,000 mobile users in some of these countries. Well, you know, today Africa has 700 million mobile telephone users, and those statistics, nobody dreamed of them. And so now that you can dream, you know, about mobile, you know that mobile is a success. Now you can dream about other types of technology.
So you mentor young entrepreneurs, young tech entrepreneurs. I mean, what do you tell them, and what's the biggest challenge that they face?
Survival is the biggest challenge. You know, I was surprised because, you know, some of the challenges that I saw were, you know, people needing transportation money to get from their home to the technology hub,
the tech hub.
The tech hub, and those are challenging because you can have the best idea in the world, but if you can't get from point A to point B, you'll never be able to execute on that. You'll never be able to get the funding. You'll never be able to go to the meetings that you need to go to. And so there's some very basic problems that need to be addressed. But once you can overcome that, I think that the challenges are getting these entrepreneurs to think outside of their immediate community, to think global. You know, you can build local, but think global. You know, think of a solution that will address a market that's larger than your own country, because that's how you'll make money.
But how difficult that must be if you're struggling for bus fare into town.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so important for organizations to help build that ecosystem. We've seen a lot of support from some foundations, from Google, from some companies that have invested in projects that support this ecosystem of technology entrepreneurs, and so that they have a place to go to. They don't have to rent their own office, because there is an office, there's the internet, there's, you know, so and they have mentors and they have advice, and those are the things that will help bring these entrepreneurs from idea to business.
And like you said at the beginning of this interview, you know, this is not a dream, this is happening.
This is happening. This is wonderful.
And it's revolutionary because it's changing lives in this continent.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are different ways. You know, that technology isn't a means for everybody to succeed, but at least one category of people can come out of poverty using technology. And I support. I mean, there's. You know, I'd like to see more tech millionaires on the continent, because that's where we have to get to. You know, where there are so many tech millionaires that people will say, I want to be a techie. You know, I want to be one of them. You know, it shouldn't just be seen as some, you know, nice thing, they get out of poverty. No, let's make millionaires out of these people.
It can happen.
It has happened. It has happened. There are examples of African tech millionaires and huge success stories. Especially in South Africa, I would say, where some companies have sold for hundreds of millions of dollars. That's huge. That's huge. In Nigeria recently, there's an online merchant that received a $26 million investment. That's real money. You know, that's real money. And if these investors are putting in that amount of money, it's because they know that they will make money in return.